So Malik, dang, what did you eat last night?
What did I eat last night?
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't eat much. I had a banana.
Bro?
I had a banana. I had some strawberry lemonade. I wasn't that hungry.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't that hungry. It's
All right, so you have a mixture of both worlds. I know you're Jamaican and Guyanese. All right, so as a child, I guess you have the best of both worlds. What was like your favorite meal growing up? Like, what food did you like really enjoy the most?
Curry chicken.
Curry chicken?
Yes.
Sheesh. Okay, all right, so that's one question that I don't have to ask you. So I was gonna do like a list of like different types of Caribbean foods and like which one you prefer.
Right.
So I was gonna say jerk chicken or curry chicken. You said curry chicken already. All right, next one. Fried plantain or fried plantain or pudding.
Oh, fried plantain.
Okay. Beef patty with or without cocoa bread?
With.
Yeah, cocoa bread. Okay.
Course.
Cola champagne or pineapple soda?
Pineapple.
Pineapple, really?
Yeah.
Dang, I feel like everybody always loves cola champagne.
No, I mean both are nice, but like I don't know. I feel like pineapple has more of a tropical. But cola champagne is cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I understand. All right, what's happening, everyone? Welcome to Mission to Medicine. Today, I have the privilege of speaking to Malik Walters. He is a person that I have known for about 4 to 5 years. We met in college at the University of Maryland. We have both since graduated from the university, and we are now pursuing our careers. I really wanted to bring Malik onto the channel because I feel like he shares a unique perspective, a perspective that a lot of people actually have thoughts about, where they enter the university thinking that they're going to do one thing and then they leave doing another. Malik came in as a pre-med student, and then throughout his time here, he realized that wasn't really his full, passion, and he ended up changing to something else. So I brought him on in here so he could share his experiences. So I'm not going to give it away, but you probably might see it by the title already. But, I feel like we have thoughts, as students, that we want to do one thing, and then we don't know how to take the initiatives or the steps to actually figure out how to pursue the next thing, or think that, it's going to be difficult, or people might look at me differently. But you know what? Ultimately, who cares? But we have Malik here today to share his experience. Malik, welcome to Mission to Medicine.
Thank you, Akeem. So glad to be here.
Yes. All right, so Malik, I know you came in, like I said, you came in as a pre-med student initially.
Yes.
And then along the way, we changed somewhere else. Don't give it away yet.
Okay.
But all right, you came in pre-med. Why did you come in pre-med, and how did it go? And then what led up to this change?
Okay, so I came in pre-med primarily because that's really all I knew coming into college. I was surrounded by several medical doctors in my family, including my own mom.
Wow.
Several medical doctors. So, and in high school, I know this is such like the basic story, but in high school, I was really good in biology. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I'm good in biology. I like helping people. My mom's a doctor. My aunts are doctors. It just makes sense for me to be pre-med.
For sure. And a lot of people don't have that perspective, because I never had any. My mom was a nurse. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much it. But that's awesome.
No, yeah. It was kind of awesome in a sense, but at the same time, I felt like I wish I had more of a broader view of the different options that I could have pursued coming into college. But it just, over the course of time, I realized that the pre-med lifestyle, it wasn't something that I necessarily wanted. It was something I felt like it just fit.
It fit.
When
you refer to it as a lifestyle, what exactly are you like? What do you mean by that?
So when I say pre-med lifestyle, I mean late nights.
The notorious late nights.
Yes, late nights. Telling your friends or telling people who don't know you, oh yes, I'm a biology major, pre-med, and the same response that they always give is, wow, that must be hard, or wow, you must be smart. I felt like the pre-med lifestyle was a lot of stress, definitely a lot of stress, a lot of doubt of yourself, because when you would look at yourself comparing to other people, you would see, oh, these other pre-med students are doing so well, and then there's
Allegedly.
me. Allegedly. That's
Come on, bro.
No, that's the thing.
Social media we're gonna talk about that later. So how social
Okay.
media can play into like, oh, everybody's like doing so well, and this person got it going on. All right, but we're gonna get to it.
No, yeah, it's definitely a facade, but yeah, I just felt like the whole pre-med lifestyle, it just wasn't for me.
Because of those reasons.
Well,
But not only because of
Not
those
only because of those reasons, but I just didn't feel right. Like, of course, I did, or not everything, but I did a lot of what pre-med students do when it comes to, looking into research or shadowing opportunities. And I actually was shadowing. I was shadowing a pediatrician, and I liked it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I felt it was
Extremely passionate
passionate about.
Yeah.
When I would see other pre-med students talking about, oh yes, my shadowing experience, oh I loved it, like this was, I can definitely see myself doing this for my entire life. And for me, it was like, oh yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it, I enjoyed helping, but I couldn't see myself in that position like 20 years from now.
So it wasn't exactly the coursework itself, because the coursework and the pre-dent and the pre-med coursework kind of aligns in the same, like, certain classes. Some classes you don't take, some classes you do
Right.
take. So it wasn't necessarily the coursework, but it was more so like when you were shadowing, when you were there and you were doing those experiences that typical pre-med students do, you realize, all right, I actually don't see myself in this role doing this. I don't think I'm going to be actually happy doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So it was like you taking steps to like get those experiences that you're supposed to do, but then during that time period, you've realized you have some uncertainty about it. So then when you realize you had these uncertainties, how did you figure out, like, how did you take that all in and process that to then kind of make that change? What steps did you take? Was there any resources?
So are you saying resources transitioning from the first, like, from pre-med to like the next thing, or?
All right, well, so let's break it down a little bit better. So freshman, sophomore year, were you thinking about changing, or was it after your sophomore year? Like when?
So freshman and sophomore year, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, I looked into doing research, and it was funny because the woman who I was going to do research for, she basically said, okay, come to me after spring break and tell me if you're still interested. And I'm glad she said that, because after spring break, I realized that I wasn't necessarily interested in doing what she wanted me to do. Okay. I was pursuing her research opportunity because I guess it's what I needed to do as a pre-med student.
Makes sense.
Junior year is when the switch came. Junior year is when I felt like I was wavering in my decision to pursue medicine. Not because, it was hard, because really, honestly, everything is
hard.
Everything is hard.
Yeah.
Everything is hard. All the classes, these science courses, no matter
Can't
what.
get around it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it wasn't the courses. It was just something inside me telling me that this isn't what I want to do. It's something that I'm just doing because I feel like it's just something that I should be doing. It was weird.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until a good friend of mine came across me and she said, Malik, I have this other idea of what you could do. Because I expressed to her like how I wasn't really happy being a pre-med student.
Yeah.
And
that's good to have a support system that you can go and rely on and talk to, and like be a mood board to just speak about how you feel about these things.
Oh yeah, I literally remember telling and tweeting about this too. I remember telling people how I just felt trapped trapped as a pre-med student. I felt like there was no way out. I felt like no, I'm so serious. I felt like,
and it's times when you do feel like, I felt like that plenty of times, trapped, where like, dang, do I really want to do this, and like how can I get out of it?
Exactly.
And it's like, but for me, when I've had those feelings, I think it's comfortable to have those feelings and to just like figure out if you can get out of it, and if you can't, you have to figure out, well, is this what you really want to do? And ultimately, I asked myself that deep question, and I figured out that it was what I really wanted to do ultimately in the end. But that's not the case for everybody.
No, yeah, it definitely isn't. Because my friend, she was interested in dentistry. So I said, okay, that's cool and all, but I don't know if I want to be a dentist.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, Malik, you should really check it out. And she had her own like subset of issues against pre-med students, because I feel like there's a stigma about pre-med students who they feel like, they're competitive and they only care about school and they smile on your face, but they don't want the best for you.
It's cutthroat. Like we have cutthroat type A pre-meds, and those stereotypes are very true. When you see those memes on Instagram and Twitter, it's true. Like they're definitely out here. I witnessed it. I felt it. I've experienced it. Yeah. All the 9 yards.
Yeah. Some of it is true for some students, but it's not for everyone.
Exactly. That's definitely something you gotta speak on.
There are students who are pre-med and they don't fit any of those qualities. They aren't necessarily competitive. They'll smile on your face because they want to, not because they're trying to like get under your skin or whatever. But yeah, my friend, she introduced me to dentistry, and I said, okay, that's cool, but I'm not sure if I want to be a dentist. I never thought about being a dentist. So she was like, no, you should really check it out. So she showed me this one video about a few dental professionals talking and talking about the field of dentistry and how it impacts lives. And I literally remember watching the video with her and being like, okay, okay, that's cool. But no, I decided to actually shadow her mom, who was an orthodontist. I shadowed her mom, just like how I shadowed the pediatrician. I shadowed her mom to see if I could really see myself doing what she suggested that I look into. And literally after the first day of shadowing, I only shadowed her one day. Okay. After the first day of shadowing, I was like, wow, it's kind of nice. Yeah. It's kind of nice. Like I said, it's not something that I really thought about doing. But when I got introduced to it, I was like, okay, maybe it's something that I should look into. So I wanted to make sure that this whole dentistry profession wasn't just a new piece of candy. I wanted to make sure it wasn't just a new piece of candy. And when I say that, because, sometimes it's like, imagine like a Jolly Rancher is just like put on the table. Yeah. And you're like, oh, dang, that's free candy. Or, oh, that's candy. Nowadays, like, since I'm like older, I don't really like candy that much. But I don't know if you
allegedly.
But it's the whole new piece of candy thing is like you see it and you say, okay, this looks nice, but is it something that I really want? So I decided to shadow a general dentist, and after shadowing the general dentist a few times, I realized that this is something that I'm really interested in. So through my research and through more shadowing of the general dentist, that's when I really came to the conclusion that I wanted to be a dentist.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Wow. So it's a progression of events that led up to this. Yes. And basically having someone outside or in your inner circle who's like in the pre-med or pre-dent space allowed you to see a different perspective, a new view of a take on a career path for you. And I feel like that's definitely, I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like the people that you keep around you are really important, keeping you on your toes and helping you through your hard times and your situations that you experience. Was there any other types of support systems that you relied on or used throughout that transition period on campus? Anyone, like advisors? I know we have advising on campus, different people to talk to outside of like your inner circle. Right.
So outside of my inner circle, including my family, I spoke with the pre-health advisors on campus. Because on the form that you fill out, or now it's electronic, but on the form you have to write on the form saying, oh, what profession are you trying to pursue? I remember the one day I switched it to Pre-dent, and I went to see the pre-health advisor, and I was telling him, oh, I'm thinking about doing dentistry now. Yeah. And he was like, why? And I said, I got introduced to this field, and it's something that I feel a connection to. It's something I feel like it's similar to pre-med, similar to pursuing medicine. It's just you're helping people's lives in a different manner. Yeah. And it felt right compared to when I was pursuing medicine. It just felt like something I was doing just to do it.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So in your time period, I know you mentioned that you have family members who are physicians.
Yes.
So we didn't really talk too much about that. When you were transitioning to pre-dentistry, when you were talking to them, how did they respond to that? Because, you know, they're physicians, and now all of a sudden you wanted to change. Like, how did that was their response? Because I know Caribbean parents, they can be really like, you know, what?
Yeah.
You want to change now? What's going on, boy?
Yeah.
You better.
No, yeah. My mom, for example, she really told me, well, okay, honestly, growing up, my mom was always saying, you can do whatever you want to do, you can be whatever you want to be, as long as you can support yourself. I'm lucky to have a mom who's like that, because I know there are a lot of students or a lot of kids out there who their parents kind of force them to becoming like doctors or lawyers or whatever it may be. But my mom was
Very
like,
true.
my mom was like, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you can support yourself.
Right.
So I remember telling her, I'm interested in pursuing dentistry, and initially it didn't go so well with her, actually, because she thought that I was, quote unquote, taking the easy way out. She thought that I didn't want to pursue medicine anymore because it was getting too hard, and I felt like dentistry was easier. Yeah, so I had to tell her that's not the reason. Because in reality,
let's get this straight.
No, I have to tell her that's not the reason, because in reality, dentistry is hard as well.
Yeah.
So I really had to talk with her and explain to her why I wanted to become a dentist, why I was interested in pursuing dentistry, and eventually she realized that, okay, I'm not just taking the easy way out. It's something that I'm
really
genuinely interested in.
Ultimately, I think parents, they just want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons.
No, yeah.
You know, not just for like for the heck of it or whatever.
Definitely.
So now we're in your junior year,
Yes.
and you're pre-dent now.
Yes.
Okay. So I know during pre-med, I felt like this. I wanted to get your experience as a pre-dent student once you changed it over. You're still a public health science major. I don't think we established that you're a public health science major.
Yes, public health science.
Okay. I was also a public health science major as well. Great major. So during some of my pre-med classes, I kind of felt the impostor syndrome. Are you familiar with that?
Sounds familiar, but
It's like where you are in a classroom full of people. We go to a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution, where pretty much I don't really see that many people that are minorities, men of color like myself, in the classroom. Maybe it's 1 or 2 or 3 of us, where sometimes I felt like I didn't belong there, like especially taking upper level science classes, and I'm just like, bro, I don't feel comfortable in here, or I just don't think I'm smart enough compared to some of these people in this room. And it's just like, have you ever felt that way? And if so, how did you get through it? With even in pre-dentistry, if you felt like that during pre-med, or if it was less of that during pre-dent, I don't know.
No, so like in pre-med, or while I was a pre-med student, I had feelings sometimes where I was like comparing myself to other people and saying, oh, they're doing so well and I'm here struggling. Like these people, they're going out every day and they're still performing well in the classroom. I'm staying in every day, staying up all night, and I'm struggling. What's going on? But I definitely felt like there were times where I would compare myself to people and say, okay, I definitely don't feel like I'm at the same level as these other people. I felt like, no, I didn't feel like these students were necessarily better than me. I just felt more so that it wasn't the place, like I wasn't where I was supposed to be. But at the same time, one thing that my mom always like instilled in me as a child is that all you can do is your best. All you can do is your best, and
It's very
after you do your best, like what else is there you can do? You know, like you do your best, and sometimes, you know, unfortunately, sometimes it feels like the best isn't enough. At that point in time, but you know, all you can do is keep doing your best, and eventually things will work out.
That makes sense.
Yes.
So like for me, I remember it was like, this is one story that I've always like talked about, is like I remember it was organic chemistry, Orgo 1. I did terrible on the first exam, and I was like, I really want to get an A in Orgo, and I see everybody doing well. Like the average was like this, and I was below it was like the average like a 70 or a 60 or something like that, and I was below the average. And I was like, no, bro, I can't go out like this.
No, yeah.
And And I did something where I did something that I've never done before, where I actually went up to the smartest kid in the class. This kid was raising his hand. He was always answering the questions, and he just seemed like he was on top of it. And come to find out, he got the high. He got the highest grade in the class. And I went to him, I was like, bro, look, I'm not doing so hot in this class. I really want to do well in this class. Could you take me under your wing and could I study with you? I'm really trying to do well. And he did. He was also another pre-med student. He was a white pre-med student. And I was like, you know what? I sucked it up. I was like, I'm going to do something that's different. I'm going to step out my comfort zone. And I did that, and I asked for help. And he took me under wing. And that semester, I passed. I did well in that class. But it took me to realize, all right, I have to suck up my pride, and I have to do something that's different and do whatever it takes and do my best. And that's what it required at the time. So that's where I was at with that. So as a public health science major, we definitely learned about preventative medicine, preventative health aspects. We learned about healthcare disparities. In what ways do you think public health science has helped equip you to become a better dentist in the future, and what practices do you plan on implementing in your future practice as a dentist?
Okay, so I feel like being a public health science major allowed me to broaden my understanding of health in general and how health is different in different communities. Initially, actually, I don't think I mentioned this, but I was a general biology major coming into college, and I realized that as a gen bio major, it was cool. You learned about biology, you learned about more biology, but it was I realized that I wanted to know more about health, in general. I wanted to expand my knowledge on, like you said, health disparities, community health, how the health is different depending on a person's race, a person's income, how different factors can influence a person's overall health.
And that's more practical when it comes to treating a patient population.
Oh, yes.
And understanding your patients. Yeah.
Definitely. So I feel like as a public health science major, I was equipped with tools and equipped with more understanding. So when I eventually become a dentist, I hope to one day serve in underserved areas, or work in underserved areas. And doing this, I will have more of a more than a general understanding, actually, of my patients from an individual standpoint. And okay, so let me clarify. So I feel like I will be able to interact with my patients more than, or on a deeper level than just another dentist who doesn't know about
the social underpinnings that might be behind the certain disease that they may have, or the certain what led up to the actual disease or the symptoms that they're showing to you in the office.
Yes.
Because it's other factors that play a role in just this person just didn't take care of their teeth.
Exactly.
It might be, all right, maybe they're drinking soda because they have no other resources in the community that they live that may cause a cavity.
Exactly.
You have to think about all these different factors that be playing a role in the disease that's being presented. So definitely, I think public health really helped allow us to look at everything with a different lens. And it's definitely something that's going to be really beneficial in the long run when it comes to our practice.
Oh, yeah. I want to definitely relate to my patients. About a year and a half ago, I went to Honduras on a dental mission.
I remember
trip.
that.
And what I saw there was something I've never seen before. I've heard about it, but seeing these health disparities firsthand really opens your mind to what is going on in the world, and how there are so many people out there who are struggling because they don't have access to health care, or they cannot afford proper health care. There are so many different reasons why people don't go to the dentist, or even just don't go to the medical doctor,
Yeah.
So it was these experiences that I had in Honduras, they really, they didn't make me decide I wanted to be a dentist, because by this time I already decided,
solidified.
Right. It just really made me...
It strengthened it.
Yes. It reminded me why I wanted to be a dentist. So it's something that I'm passionate about, something about helping other people who need the help. And it's something that I don't know, I've always been the type of person who wants to help others.
Yeah.
So when I am a well-established dentist, if I don't end up working in an underserved area, I definitely hope to go back to underserved areas and serve. I want to help these people who could really benefit from the help.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. I feel like you have the personality and you also have the education to help equip you to be a great dentist and give back to the communities that need it the most.
Right.
So speaking of extracurricular activities such as going to Honduras and getting that unique perspective, I know that a lot of people during their gap year or after they graduate from undergrad, they take that time to do different things or explore different opportunities.
Right.
To enhance their career or whatever, or I don't know, like what are the words that I'm looking for. They do different things to help make them a better applicant for professional school, something like that.
Right.
So during your gap year, what are the things that you have been doing or keeping yourself on your toes or anything like that?
So
First, Malik is taking a gap year after undergrad. We didn't really establish that either, but yeah.
So what I honestly, aside from relaxing, because once I graduated, I was like, okay, I need to relax.
Yeah.
So
it's intense.
No, I need to relax.
Undergrad is intense. Yeah.
So I definitely went on a trip to New York where I visited some friends, and I did more local things like hanging out with friends or going to see relatives who live in local states. And but aside from the relaxation part, I've really just been doing more research into how I could become a better applicant. And I realized that there's always more work that could be done. There's always more that I could be doing. I definitely expanded on my shadowing opportunities, shadowing the same general dentist who I shadowed back when my friend introduced me to dentistry. I continued to shadow him in a local office in Silver Spring, which is probably 30 minutes from my house.
Right.
So it's not bad.
That's cool.
And aside from that, though, I've just been doing research into dental clinics where I could volunteer, not necessarily to make me look good, but
just
something
to keep active and keep
exactly.
keep you ready. You're ready. This is why I want to do this and keep it solidified. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Is there any tips that you would definitely give my viewers, my subscribers? I know a lot of people have the same thoughts that you had during your sophomore, junior year of do I really want to do pre-med? And if so, then what are the other options? And how am I going to do this? What tips do you have for my viewers?
Okay. I have a few tips.
Drop them. We want to hear them. Let's hear the keys, Malik.
Okay, yeah. So,
the major keys.
Can I look into the camera?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, cool.
Play, bro.
Cool. So, number one, don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself. And I say that because everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own journey in the sense that some people, they go straight from undergrad to professional school. Some people, they go from undergrad to master's to professional school. Some people do a post-bac. Some people voluntarily take time off. So I know as a freshman or a sophomore, it might feel kind of hard looking at all these other students who are performing exceptionally well, and then you're sitting there struggling.
Yeah.
And I know it's easier said than done to not compare yourself, but literally it does nothing good for you. It does nothing good for you. All it does is stress you out. And I wish if I could go back in time, I would not look at these other students and say, wow, I wish that I was doing as well as them. Yeah. Because you're wasting all that time.
It's a lot of energy that you're wasting. It's negative energy too.
Negative energy, all this negative energy, and you could be putting positive energy towards making yourself better. Making yourself, or figuring out better study tips or study habits. So yeah, that's
I always say like, this is your race. Like, your race is your race, and
Exactly.
other people's race is their own race, and you're at your own pace. Like, you cannot compare what's going on over there to your situation. And I feel like we kind of touched on this before, but we can go into it a little bit more now about like social media.
Yes.
I feel like social media has opened up, like it's great and all, but like it has opened up a door to a lot of that comparison and negative energy, where it's
Right.
like FOMO, fear of missing out, or this person's doing way better. But like people were saying, like Instagram is people's highlight tapes. Like, people are only
Facts.
putting their best self out there. So you have to make sure you understand that and have that type of lens when you're looking at how people post and the things that they put on there, because people are not going to post with them sleeping on the couch or with them
Exactly.
crying
Exactly.
after they just failed their exam, or they have to retake a class, blah blah blah. People are not putting that out there. So the things that you think you're going through, hey, don't feel like you're the only person that is going through that. The people that's posting their best lives on Instagram and whatever, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, they're still going through it too, just as well.
Yeah.
It may not be the same, but they're going through it too. So you gotta keep that in mind, so you don't get the situation mixed up at all.
Oh yeah. And you just actually mentioned my second tip, which would be, if you need to retake a class, don't hesitate and take it sooner rather than later, or retake it sooner rather than later. Personally, I've had to retake several courses over the course of my college career. They've all been chemistry courses.
Chem is not our friend. Look, I do not like chemistry.
No, I don't either. And I could come up with 1,000 reasons why I had to retake these courses. I can mention how, in high school, I didn't get a good background on chemistry, or my teachers weren't that great.
Yeah.
I could come up with a reason saying, it just wasn't fair, my professors were hard. But at the end of the day, everyone had the same professor.
Right.
So, honestly, retaking these courses, it can feel kind of strange. It can feel kind of like you failed the first time. My case, I didn't fail these courses. The only reason I retook them was because I got C minuses. And for many schools, they don't accept C minuses. Or professional schools, they don't accept C minuses. They only accept C's, at least a C or better. And I realized that if this is something that I really want to do, I'm going to have to retake these classes. I realized that retaking classes is an investment. So I would tell people to do their
Don't
best.
hesitate and do your best.
Do your best the first time.
Around, yeah. Do your best the first
around.
time around. But if you're in that situation, don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Because like in the end game, like you're working towards a good solid career in some type of healthcare, occupation, and eventually it's going to pay off. So.
Exactly. And don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, because like Akeem said, like there are people out there who they go on social media, they go on Twitter talking about I just got an A on my exam, but they don't talk about, I just finished crying in the bathroom. No, it's so real, because
it's very true.
You don't talk about the negatives in your life. You don't talk about the L's that you've taken. At least most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people don't. So you don't be embarrassed. Just realize that there are people out there who retake classes. It's not abnormal. And if it's what you have to do what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
I feel like it's definitely important to keep it real with people.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age, like we said, where it's just like, it's just positive all the time, and it's the best all the time. And I strive to bring realness to this channel, to Mission to Medicine, because I feel like a lot of people have a view of me. At sometimes, like, people thought like I had like all of this stuff like lined up and going well, like, oh my god, like he's this gung-ho pre-med student, blah blah blah, like straight A's, smart, blah blah blah. And that may be the case in some regards, but it's not the whole picture, and that's not what it is. So I spoke about my MCAT journey and how I'm retaking it and what happened the first time around. So I try to be transparent and explain the realness and give people, an actual good perspective of what it is. And that's why I like to bring people like you onto the channel to share your unique experiences as well, because it's not a one molded experience. It's so many different types of experiences, but we're all working towards the same goals to provide, healthcare and good quality healthcare to people,
Right.
and eventually make it into these career positions.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there any other tips?
I would say take breaks. Take breaks when you need to. However, don't take breaks when you feel like you don't deserve a break. Because, and I'll explain. So there are so many times, freshman and sophomore year, I would study for probably an hour straight, and then I would tell myself, okay, I need a break. But really, I didn't necessarily need a break. I was just tired of studying. And not like mentally tired of studying, more like, oh, I'm tired of studying, I'm trying to go watch TV, like tired. So if you need to take a break, make sure that, or a break while studying, make sure that you have put in a good amount of time studying. Make sure that you aren't just taking a break because you are, no, make sure you aren't just taking a break because you feel tired in the sense that you just don't want to look at your stuff anymore. If you're going to take a break, make sure that it's just something that you deserve. And only you can figure that out. Everyone has different opinions on what they deserve and what they don't deserve. Some people, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to study for 5 hours straight, and then I'll take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Some people will be like, oh, I need to study for 2 hours, and I'll take a 30-minute break. Like, everyone's different. But
Discipline.
yes, it's all about discipline, especially in college when there are all these parties going on, all these RA events on your floor, like all these
Campus organizations.
campus
clubs,
organizations, clubs, whatever, all these distractions basically.
EOPs, enemies of progress.
Enemies of progress, yes. Don't let those deter you from, or don't let those distract you actually from what you need to get done.
Why you actually came to college.
Why you actually came to college. Because I'm speaking from experience, you don't want to start college off with a low GPA. Because it's so much harder.
It sucks building that joint.
Yeah, it's so much harder to bring your GPA up than it is to make it
down.
drop. It would drop.
It would drop like that
very quickly.
You gotta see it
So-
drop like that. But building it up is like, it takes semesters
It's very hard.
to get it back up to a 3.0 or
It's very hard. So I mean, personally, I had a rough freshman year for a variety of reasons. But I literally started college with a very low GPA, like close to a 2.0 GPA. And I was able to graduate college with above a 3.0 GPA. That wasn't easy because it literally took several semesters to bring it from about a 2.0 to above a 3.0. And it's something that I'm very proud of because
that's an accomplishment in itself.
No, it is.
Because that's something that a lot of people can't do, especially at University of Maryland where it's already hard enough.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
UMD is just too much.
Pat yourself on the back
Yes,
because that's
thank
good.
you. But it's definitely something that I look back on and say, okay, Malik, like you did it. Like you did well. You accomplished something that you wanted to do. It wasn't easy, like I said, because bringing up your GPA is very hard. Unless you get like a 4.0 like every semester, you might be able to bring it up in like a few semesters. But for me, it took several. So that's something that I'm proud of. And if you're watching this and if you are in college and you feel like, oh, my GPA is some trash, my GPA is bad, oh, I don't have the experiences, I'm just not competitive, that it all ties back into all you can do is your best. You know, all you can do is your best. And if you feel like what you're doing right now isn't working, then just change the strategy, you know? Change the strategy and something will work out.
Nice. Okay, Malik, so now that we talked a little bit about, your experience during undergrad, we've pretty much come to postgrad now. You talked about your gap year. So what's your next steps? What's going to be next for you in pursuing your career as a dentist?
So next for me actually is I'm about to pursue a master's degree.
Nice.
A master's in health sciences.
Ooh, you lit, boy.
Yeah, so you already know. I'm about to take courses such as biochemistry, pathology, immunology, microbiology, etc.
Yeah, to get serious.
No, yeah, it's going to be hard. That's what it's going to be.
Yes.
But it's going to be at the graduate level, of course. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be nice.
I look forward to seeing. It's interesting how I talked about everyone has a different journey and everything, but I'm even looking forward to seeing my own journey and where I end up these next few years. So
I know something that you always say, my final form is coming
yes,
soon or something.
Final form soon to come.
Soon come. So it's going to be big, bro. Just take your time, your own pace. It's your race, nobody else's. And in due time, that final form will come,
exactly.
and it's going to be glorious.
Exactly.
Glorious.
We going to be all right.
we going to be all right. I feel it. That's awesome.
But yeah, so that's my life.
It's cool. It's cool. All right, thank you, Malik, for sharing those tips and those major keys. I hope you all learned a little something from those suggestions that he had for you all, because definitely everything that he said I can relate to, and I definitely attest to them, and they will definitely keep you afloat during undergrad and prepare you to be a better student along the way, your journey. Pretty much coming to an end to this interview, this conversation, just conversation between friends for real. I hope it was able to be like a nice, you felt comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is your first time like doing something like this, right? Yeah, so I want to make sure it went smoothly, it wasn't too uncomfortable. But my last and final question for you. If you could go back in time, or someone famous today, who would you want to meet and why?
If I could go back in time to meet someone.
Or someone today, modern day.
Modern day?
Famous person.
Wait, if I could go back in time.
In history, like.
In history?
Yeah.
Like a modern person?
Huh?
A modern person or like someone?
In history or modern day, who's famous that would you like to meet and why?
Oh, okay. I would probably say this is kind of very random, but I would say Jim Henson.
Really?
Yeah.
Very random.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim Henson.
Why?
Okay, so he's the creator of the Muppets. I don't know if people are familiar with the Muppets, but it's like, Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog and all them peoples. He actually went to Maryland, fun fact.
There's a statue of him.
Yeah, there's a whole statue of him on campus. And the reason I would meet him, or want to meet him, is because, I don't know, I felt like his mind was just very, very, like, different. I felt like his mind, in order to, one, he came to Maryland and he created his own major. And I believe the major was puppetry or something along the lines of puppetry. And growing up as a child, I was really interested in puppets.
Okay.
Like, I even went as far as to like make my own puppets. Like,
wow.
I used to go to the fabric stores and like get my own stuff and make, like hand puppets.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. So it's very, very strange.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt like
that's cool though.
Yeah. It was just different. Like, not many people are into puppets. Not many people are, they feel like puppets are, because nowadays movies, like, they portray puppets and like dolls as like evil creatures, like Annabelle or like Chucky.
Yeah. Chucky definitely.
No, yeah, but I don't know. Growing up, I just felt like it was cool. Like,
that makes sense. Did that play a role in your like decision to come to Maryland because he went to Maryland?
Oh no.
You didn't know that until you got here?
No, but I don't know if that was one famous person that I could meet. I would talk with him and
have lunch.
Yeah, have lunch and be like, so when did you become interested in like Muppets or puppets? Just figuring out his mind. Because who wakes up one day and thinks I want to create a character on my hand. I know it doesn't make sense, but like
no, that's pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I understand. Well, thank you, Malik, for coming to Mission to Medicine, sharing your experience. I really appreciate you coming to do this. You definitely traveled to come here, so I hope you all were able to learn from him and found his story interesting. I definitely was engaged by your conversation and things that you were saying. Definitely really influential. What are ways that people can contact you, social media?
Right. So you can contact me I look in the camera. You can contact me on Instagram. Follow me on IG.
Follow my guy on Instagram.
It's mwalters_. Or if you are more of a Twitter person, you can contact me on Twitter at mwalters, but with 2 R's, not 1.
Nice. Yeah. I'll definitely drop those links down below so you all can easily click it and find it. You know the drill. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be updated on more video content on this channel. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I see y'all soon. Peace. Thank you.
How did I do? That's stressful.